Governments around the world are being lobbied really hard by big tech to fast track approvals for massive new data centers. I live in Australia, and here in the state of Victoria, where I'm living right now, they were so proud of themselves when they fast tracked a data center approval in 75 days. And I've never seen a government move that fast before, and that's got to tell you something. Big tech are arguing that AI is the future and data centers are the required infrastructure. And if you don't approve them now, you'll be left behind. But for those of us who've been around a while, we find this remarkably similar to the dot-com fibre optic build-out of the 90s. The pitch at that time was identical. The future is the internet, and bandwidth is the bottleneck. So you need to build all this optical fibre now, otherwise you'll be left behind. The problem was that the demand projections were fabricated. WorldCom CFO was literally cooking the books, and the whole thing unraveled in 2001 when the fibre optic that had been laid wasn't even being used. And it's happened before that. Railroads were genuinely transformative technology, and there was economic value in aggregate. But government subsidies encouraged so much capital deployment that most individual operators went bankrupt. The infrastructure remained and eventually became foundational. But of course, AI is different, right? I mean, surely they wouldn't just be making things up now, would they? Particularly when governments are literally falling over themselves to please you. And surely there'd be a great business case underpinning all this investment, indicating how economic value will be created for the customer. But we're not seeing it. It's just not there because the technology is still new. So in this video, I'm going to explain why we need to stop building data centers right now, because this time, unlike the 90s, the stakes are so much higher. So let's understand the scale of what we're talking about. According to the International Energy Agency, global investment in data centers has nearly doubled since 2022 and hit $500 billion. That is a staggering amount of capital being deployed on a technology that is still experimental. We don't know if LLMs will be the dominant model, and we're rushing in on a technology that's not generating any value. One of the most respected economic research institutions in the US estimates that AI's contribution to total productivity growth right now is almost zero. That's the Penn Wharton budget model reporting a 0.1% increase for the billions of dollars that's already been spent. And yes, there are individual studies showing that workers are saving time using generative AI tools. There's early evidence of productivity uplifts with some operating models. But with the exception of coding, we really haven't found a solution for which customers will pay for value. And look, the adoption of Microsoft Copilot has been woeful and people hate it. This is still not ready yet, and we shouldn't be laying any more concrete until we can see a business case. The macro signal isn't there, and with hundreds of billions of dollars already spent, the economy-wide productivity needle has to move. Now, if that wasn't enough to worry you, what I tell you now should, because these data centers actually cost the communities that host them, because it increases demand for electricity and water. The IEA estimates that data centers consume 1.5% of global electricity consumption, and that's planned to double by 2030. That's a number roughly equivalent to the entire power consumption of Japan. In the United States specifically, data centers account for nearly half of all electricity demand growth between now and 2030. And this is at a time when we're trying to reduce our carbon emissions and stop cooking the planet. That apparently isn't a problem anymore. But electricity isn't the only story. According to the Environmental and Energy Study Institute, a large data center can consume as much water as a town of 50,000 people. Most of that water is lost as evaporation from cooling towers. And each AI prompt uses roughly 1 bottle of water, according to the University of California, Riverside. So here in Victoria, where electricity prices have gone through the roof, and we are now in the middle of an extreme drought, I have absolutely no idea how that could have been approved in 75 days. This is not right, and something does not make sense. It actually turns out that communities really don't like hosting data centers. More than $100 billion of projected investment has already been blocked or delayed by opposition groups. There's now more than 180 of those active in 40 states across the US. In fact, a nationwide poll found that only 44% of Americans would welcome a data center in their neighborhood. That makes them less popular than gas plants, wind farms, or even nuclear facilities. In Tucson, Arizona, the council voted unanimously to reject a $3.6 billion Amazon campus proposal after sustained community opposition over water use. In fact, water use is cited in more than 40% of community opposition campaigns. Energy costs and grid strain come in second. This is bipartisan citizens pushing back in support of their community. But here in Australia, there's no real opposition to data centres that I can find. And most people I talk to seem to think that it's kind of cool that the government can take only 75 days to approve a data centre, because that shows that they're fast moving and technology friendly. But seriously, are they going to fix the electricity prices? And are they going to break this terrible drought? Now, in an unexpected turn of events, data centres are now military targets. In March this year, a drone strike directly hit 3 Amazon Web Services data centres, 2 in the UAE and 1 in Bahrain. The strikes took out 2 of the 3 AWS availability zones in the UAE region simultaneously. The redundancy model is designed to survive a single zone failure, but not a coordinated attack across multiple sites, so the whole region went down. These attacks will now become more and more common as AI becomes strategically significant. And that matters because here's the problem with critical centralized AI infrastructure. If your electricity goes down, you can bring in generators. If your plumbing doesn't work, you can bring in water on a truck. But what do you do if your business can't access its data and its business brain? Do you really want to make your business a military target? I'm not in any way anti-AI, but right now we have governments being lobbied to fast-track investment with apparently no community opposition. We're deploying public resources to a technology that has not yet delivered measurable economy-wide gains. Technologies which communities are actively and increasingly resisting, and technology whose physical infrastructure is now confirmed as a military target. Large language models in their current form have real limitations, and they're not going to get much better without a significant uplift in energy. And if it's not working now, why do we think it's suddenly going to start working tomorrow? The economic case for data centers is still being drafted, but the global case for carbon reduction is clear. Somehow we're now in this world where it's okay to think about building nuclear reactors so we can generate cat videos. Seriously, we just need to slow down on this data center approval. We can't let big tech consume the energy grid and draw down the water table. Governments must make them earn their social license first. Make them prove their case, because right now the data says it's not there. If you enjoyed this video and you like my content, please consider subscribing to my channel so you'll never miss out on an update. Thank you and see you in the next one.